In the pouring rain of a forgotten small-town diner parking lot, 7-year-old Lily burst through the door, her tiny frame soaked and shivering, tears streaming down her dirt-streaked face. "Please, they're beating my mama," she wailed, her voice piercing the rumble of idling motorcycles. The bikers, leather-clad giants with tattoos snaking up their arms and beards like thunderclouds, turned their heads, their tough exteriors cracking for a split second. What happened next left everyone speechless, proving that heroes don't always wear capes, sometimes they ride Harleys. Lily's world had been a fragile bubble, shattered by the man who was supposed to protect them. Her mother, Sarah, was a 32-year-old waitress with a smile that could light up the gloomiest shift, but behind closed doors, she endured the wrath of her boyfriend, Jake, a volatile construction worker whose fist spoke louder than his apologies. Sarah had met Jake 5 years ago, drawn to his charm after Lily's father abandoned them. But charm turned to control to bruises. Lily, with her wide blue eyes and pigtails, had witnessed too much for her young heart, the yelling, the slaps, the promises of never again. That night, as thunder cracked overhead, Jake's rage exploded over a burnt dinner. Sarah's cries echoed through their rundown trailer, and Lily, terrified but brave, slipped out the back door and ran, straight to the only lights she saw, the neon glow of Hank's diner, where a group of bikers from the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club had stopped for coffee. The bikers were no strangers to judgment. Led by Big Tom, a 55-year-old veteran with a scar across his cheek from a bar fight long ago, the club was a ragtag family of misfits. There was Jax, the quiet mechanic with a soft spot for kids, Maria, the tough-as-nails nurse who rode with them, and young Rico, fresh out of juvie, trying to turn his life around. They raised money for charities, fixed bikes for single moms, but the world saw only the patches and the roar of engines, outlaws, troublemakers. As Lily stumbled toward them, gasping for breath, Big Tom knelt down, his massive frame suddenly gentle. "Whoa there, little one. Who's hurting your mama?" Lily pointed toward the trailer park across the street, her words tumbling out. "Jake, he's hitting her again. Please, help." The group exchanged glances. This wasn't their fight, but something in Lily's eyes, a mix of desperation and innocence, stirred them. "We can't just walk away," Maria said, her voice firm. Jax nodded, cracking his knuckles. But challenges loomed immediately. Storming into a domestic dispute could land them in jail. Cops in this town didn't trust bikers. And what if Jake was armed? Big Tom weighed the risks, his mind flashing to his own daughter, lost to a similar nightmare years ago. "All right," he rumbled. "We go in smart. Maria, call the sheriff anonymously. The rest of us, let's make some noise." They revved their engines, a thunderous symphony that drowned out the rain, and rode the short distance to the trailer. Lily clung to Big Tom's back, her small arms wrapped around his waist like a lifeline. As they pulled up, the door flew open, and Jake staggered out, beer in hand, his face twisted in fury. Sarah huddled inside, a fresh bruise blooming on her cheek, her eyes widening at the sight of the bikers. "What the hell?" Jake snarled, spotting Lily. "You little brat, get over here." Big Tom dismounted first, his boots splashing in puddles. "Step away from the lady and the kid," he said, voice low but commanding. Jake laughed, a bitter sound. "This ain't your business, biker trash." The tension crackled like lightning. Jax and Rico flanked Tom, ready for a brawl, but Maria stepped forward, her nurse's instincts kicking in. She approached Sarah gently, whispering, "We're here to help. Come with us." Jake lunged, swinging a wild punch at Tom, but the veteran dodged, grabbing Jake's arm in a vice grip. "You touch her again, and you'll regret it," Tom growled. The scuffle was brief. Rico tackled Jake from behind, pinning him as sirens wailed in the distance. The sheriff arrived, skeptical at first, but Lily's tearful testimony and Sarah's visible injuries sealed Jake's fate. He was arrested for assault, a restraining order slapped on him faster than he could spit curses. But the story didn't end with handcuffs. The real challenges were emotional, the kind that lingered like shadows. Sarah and Lily had nowhere safe to go, their trailer was a crime scene, and Sarah's job barely covered rent. The bikers, seeing the fear in Sarah's eyes, mirroring their own past pains, offered more than a rescue. "Stay with us tonight," Big Tom said. The club had a safe house, a modest cabin on the outskirts, used for charity runs. Sarah hesitated, whispering to Lily, "They look scary, honey." But Lily beamed, "They're not scary, Mama. They're like knights." That night, around a crackling fire, stories unfolded. Sarah shared her isolation, how Jake had cut her off from friends, convinced her she deserved the pain. Big Tom opened up about his military days, the PTSD that made him ride to escape, and how the club saved him. Maria, who had escaped an abusive marriage herself, held Sarah's hand. "You're not alone anymore." Lily, curled in Jax's lap, listened wide-eyed as Rico taught her card tricks, his tough facade melting into brotherly warmth. But doubt crept in. Sarah worried about relying on strangers, and the bikers faced backlash from the town. Whispers spread. Those outlaws are harboring trouble. A nosy neighbor even called child services, claiming the environment was unsafe. The resolution came through community and courage. The Iron Wolves rallied, using their network to help Sarah file for full custody and find a lawyer pro bono. Jax fixed Sarah's old car, ensuring she could commute without fear. Maria connected her with a support group for survivors. But the deepest healing was relational. One evening, as Lily drew pictures of her biker heroes, Sarah broke down. "I don't know how to thank you." Big Tom smiled. "Just promise you'll teach that little one to stand tall." Challenges peaked when Jake, out on bail, showed up at the diner, violating the order. The bikers were there, having become regulars to watch over Sarah. This time, no fists, just a wall of leather and resolve. "Leave, or we call the cops again," Tom said. Jake backed down, humiliated, and soon skipped town for good. Months passed, and the transformation was profound. Sarah got a promotion, her confidence blooming like spring flowers. Lily, once shy and withdrawn, laughed freely, calling the bikers Uncle Tom and Aunt Maria. The club organized a fundraiser ride, raising money for a local women's shelter, with Sarah as the guest speaker. Her voice trembled at first, but grew strong. "I was broken, but kindness pieced me back together." The town, once wary, applauded. The bikers weren't villains, they were guardians. In the end, as the group rode into a sunset, Lily waving from Sarah's arms, the message was clear: true strength isn't in muscles or machines, but in hearts that choose compassion over judgment. Stereotypes shatter when actions speak, and in a world quick to divide, a little girl's cry united unlikely allies. What the bikers did left everyone speechless, not because of violence, but because of unwavering humanity. It reminded us all, help can come from the roar of the unexpected, and heroes are forged in the quiet acts of saving one another.